What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of the entire Amazon Prime's new series, Good Omens. Hey, before you watch this review, please subscribe to my channel and press that like button and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. First up, I'd like to thank Amazon Prime for granting me the screeners to the entire 6 episodes for review purposes. So thank you for the opportunity, Amazon. Okay, if I were to describe how I feel or my reaction after watching the entire series, I'd have to say, well, let's just put it this way. Good Omens has its funny moments, but for the most part, the comedy is very dry. And some of the episodes are either too wacky or they don't engage you enough. The concept, however, is fascinating. I really thoroughly enjoyed the makeup and costume design, especially for the characters in Hell. And the two leads, Michael Sheen and David Tennant, are deliciously amusing. Based on the 1990 novel by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, Michael Sheen plays Heavenly Angel Aziraphale, and David Tennant plays a demon named Crowley. They've been friends since the beginning of time, and now, in the present day, they must yet again join forces to save the world from an approaching Armageddon that is supposed to be brought upon by the Antichrist child. Co-starring John Hamm, Adria Arjona, Michael McKean, and Nick Offerman. Just to be clear, I've never read any of Neil Gaiman's comic books or novels, including Good Omens novel, but I am aware that for whatever reason, Gaiman always seems to have this sort of interest in all things cosmic, heaven and earth, good versus evil, divine beings, and their impact on humanity. Gaiman's point in all these stories, or these stories usually end with pointing out that humanity may be corruptible, but it's more wonderful than angels and demons or others like it. That they, angels and demons, are the ones that envy us. Gaiman, of course, helped co-create Lucifer, which was turned into a TV series, and he also came up with American Gods, which is now a popular show on Starz. Good Omens, in its first episode, starts out with a switcheroo of babies that end up not where they belong, and it's illustrated by the card game of Sleight of Hand. The narration by Oscar winner Frances McDormand is as soothing as it is commanding, as she describes the chain of events and states the obvious. As you go through the subsequent episodes, however, Frances McDormand's narration gets less and less frequent, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes narration can be a helpful storytelling tool, but other times it can get too distracting. Luckily, that's not the case here. Again, I've never read the book, but it's interesting to see the creative choices by director Douglas McKinnon and his crew, including the visual effects crew, in terms of what Garden of Eden may look like, for example. The idea that it is an isolated garden in the middle of the desert is actually a theory that I've heard of before. The show goes with a bit of stereotypical look for the heaven, with brightly lit, wide open spaces. Everybody there wears clean, light color, expensive trench coats, whereas hell looks like your basic sewage. But let's talk a bit about the two leads. Michael Sheen's character, Aziraphale, is the type of angel who wouldn't hurt a fly. He's very proper and very cultured, and yet he can surprise you. And Michael plays it like a fella stuck in between timid and nerve-wrecked. David Tennant's performance, on the other hand, is brash and irreverent. He moves and walks and looks like a rock star. So much so that, I kid you not, popular classic rock songs by the band Queen accompany Crowley wherever he goes. It's as if Queen is Crowley's personal theme. Crowley can be devious, obviously because he's a demon, but his heart is in the right place. Aziraphale is always cautious, and Crowley often has to tempt or convince Aziraphale into doing something that he is adamant about not doing. And whenever Crowley gets carried away, Aziraphale steps in to be the voice of reason. That's the back and forth song and dance number between them that makes them unlikely fast friends. What you need to understand is these two characters, after spending lifetimes on this earth, have grown a sort of affinity or fondness for this world and mankind. They love it here. So when word got in that Armageddon is coming, the idea that life on Earth as they know it ceasing to exist, well, let's just say that they don't take too kindly to that. My favorite episode is actually episode 3, where you see Aziraphale and Crowley keep bumping into each other in different eras of world's history, like during the medieval age or during ancient Rome. They encounter each other again at William Shakespeare's theater, and then again in the French Revolutionary. It's fun watching them jump from one period time to the next. And that is when, as I implied earlier, the makeup and costume design gets to shine the most. Not all of the supporting characters are well developed. As a matter of fact, I find some of them to be downright boring. The Antichrist child's transition from being an innocent child to finally fully embracing who he is just doesn't seem to have a pretty solid build-up. I understand that they try to tie that into or connect that with Adria Arjona's character's storyline, but that's also another problem that I have with this show. Her character, Anithima, for the most part, is separate away from Aziraphale and Crowley. Anithima also gets a love interest, and to be honest with you, I just could not care less about them. I've been a big fan of actor Michael McKean since This Is Spinal Tap, but his character on this show is annoying and often useless. So those instances are in which the show fumbles a few times, or that the story can get a bit too convoluted. So Good Omens is not perfect, but it's not bad either. There are episodes or scenes that are so intriguing you want to see how it plays out. You could argue that the ending is a bit anticlimactic, and you would be right to make that argument, but for all its flaws, at the end of the day, the big appeal or the big attraction about Good Omens are Michael Sheen and David Tennant. Their characters can get on each other's nerves, they often disagree, and they may not admit this, but they genuinely care for each other, which is very endearing.